Hey, what's up guys? I'm Derek and this is Jaden and welcome to another episode of In the Huddle.
Today we're doing the top 5 cornerbacks in our opinion and based on last season's performance like usual.
Cornerbacks, not to be confused with quarterbacks, you know, C and Q. C.
Are you serious? I think they can read the title of the video, man.
Corner, like a corner of a book or a street corner. So we're going to point out right now that our lists are very similar. Yeah. And there's also a lot of players that we would like to put on our list that quite didn't make the cut for us. So just keep that in mind as this video rolls. So my number 5 cornerback is Richard Sherman. Now you could easily argue that Richard Sherman should be higher on a list. And
well, yeah. He had 12 picks in 2 seasons. 8 picks last year.
Which only leaves 4 the first year. And this isn't of last season's stats.
4 interceptions on your rookie year.
Yeah, I'm not saying...
That's a great year.
He's on my top 5. What else do you want?
How many interceptions?
He's on my top 5.
Okay.
He's on my top 5. Okay. He could have easily not been my top 5. I can boot him out right now if I want to.
Why would you do that? He's an outstanding player.
Exactly. Why would I? He's a great cornerback. He's on my top 5. So why is Richard Sherman low on my list?
Beats me.
Richard Sherman's attitude is, can we all agree, his attitude is...
He produces, though.
At least he does back it up. He backs it up to an extent. But Richard Sherman still hasn't done enough for me to say he's my first overall cornerback. He just hasn't done enough. He hasn't been consistent enough. He's only been in the league 2 years. If he keeps it up, Richard Sherman could go down as one of the best of all time. Another thing with Richard Sherman is that his zone coverage isn't nearly as good as his man coverage, which would be very, very impressive if his zone coverage matched his man performance.
The number 5 player on my list is Asante Samuel. The only reason Asante Samuel is number 5 on my list and not any higher is because of his age. And he's not that great at zone coverage.
Anymore, at least. Asante Samuel used to be a really, really good all-around cornerback in his days in New England and some in Philadelphia. He just really can't get around the
But man-to-man coverage and press coverage, that is his game.
That's where he excels. So I will argue Asante Samuel a little bit. First off, how many tackles did he have? Do you know offhand?
36, I believe.
That's a little low. Even for a man-to-man cornerback. But the reason that I'm going to argue this is there is a lot younger and probably a few better cornerbacks than Asante Samuel. Why put him on the list at all?
He still plays at a high level for his age. He had 5 interceptions.
Okay.
Which is decent. Yeah, it's decent. The Falcons only lost 1 or 2 games. I can't remember. I think it's 2 games. You can't put that all on Matt Ryan. He did not do that. Defense had to be part of that.
Well, yeah, and I will agree with that. But there's Joe Hayden, you have Devin McCourty, young guns like that probably produced a little bit better than Asante, and they're not on your list.
He still had 5 interceptions. That's a great year for his age.
Well, yeah. I'm not going to argue that he's not a great cornerback.
Yeah.
I'm just saying
I think he's a top 5 player.
I'm just saying he probably could have put a few more guys on there.
Yeah, I know.
So the number 4 on my list is Brandon Flowers.
Of course.
Brandon Flowers.
On the Kansas City Chiefs, his favorite team.
Brandon Flowers has been consistent for the past 4 or 5 years. Every single year he's been in the league. You can't deny that.
I believe...
You can't deny that he is also only 5'9" and shuts down some of the tallest receivers in the league. Brandon Flowers is a great all-around cornerback, and the players themselves will tell you
I didn't see that Brandon Flowers last season.
Brandon Flowers
Your guys' pass defense, I'm sorry, it was horrible. You can't say...
We lost a cornerback because of personal issues, and our starting free safety, was out with injuries most of the year, and when he was in, he was battling those injuries.
Okay, look at Brandon Flowers' last 2 seasons and compare it to Richard Sherman. Do you think Brandon Flowers produces more than Richard Sherman has?
He might. I think that he's more consistent than Richard Sherman.
He had 8 interceptions.
Richard Sherman is also a gambler. Yes, he had those 8 interceptions, but he is also a gambler. He probably goes for the interception more than he should,
because he has great safeties to back him up.
Still.
He has great safeties to back him up, so he can take chances.
What if he didn't have those safeties?
But he does.
What if he didn't?
He does.
Brandon Flowers also had a sack and I believe 2 forced fumbles on the year. Don't quote me on that because I might be wrong.
Richard Sherman had 3.
Still, Brandon Flowers very high on my list. One more thing on Brandon Flowers and why he's ranked over Richard Sherman is because Brandon Flowers has a complete game. You cannot deny me on this. Brandon Flowers is one of the best man-to-man cornerbacks in the league, and he also excels at zone coverage. You can't deny me on that. You cannot tell me that he's a better all-around cornerback.
Look at the production. Look at the production.
Still, it's not all about the production. It can be about pass deflections, which we haven't even mentioned at all. I believe Brandon Flowers had more than Richard Sherman.
Really?
Also,
I don't have it written down right now.
I do believe that Richard Sherman was thrown to more.
The number 4 player on my list is Richard Sherman.
He's on my list. What more do you want? He's only 1 behind yours.
Okay. You were just taking a couple shots at him. I think he's a great player.
Oh, so do I.
8 interceptions, 64 tackles.
I'm not denying that he's a great player. I mean, look at his season. 8 interceptions, 64 tackles, a sack, 3 forced fumbles. It's a great season.
Richard Sherman is a good man-to-man coverage guy.
Great man-to-man coverage. If you look at film, it's textbook man-to-man coverage. But he does need to improve at his zone a little bit. His zone is pretty decent, but he does need to improve.
And another thing that I like about Richard Sherman is his speed. Do you ever see Richard Sherman getting beat down the field?
No. Richard Sherman
occasionally,
is
but like
very fast.
Very rare.
Another positive on Richard Sherman, his game is very, very, very physical, and that's great to see out of the cornerback position. And I didn't mention it for my last guy, Flowers, but Brandon Flowers is also a very, very physical cornerback. So our number 3 is Patrick Peterson of the Arizona Cardinals. Patrick Peterson is... I don't even know how to explain Patrick Peterson.
The first time I saw him play last year, he returned a punt for a touchdown. And I was just like, wow, this guy can return punts. And then I saw him play defense, and I was just like, wow, he's an all-around player.
He's fast, quick, he can play the inside game, he's 6'1". I mean, he's basically perfect.
He can play man-to-man defense, and he can play zone.
Definitely. The guy had 7 interceptions.
And he also had 55 tackles.
That's great, especially for the style of defense that Arizona plays. Another thing on Patrick Peterson, and if you watched the show before, you can really realize that the personal lives and influence of the players definitely plays a part in making my list. Now, Patrick Peterson, he has a high motor. The guy never stops on a play, ever. And he's a great influence. He's only a second-year player, and he influences players on the team like nobody's business. He reminds me a lot of Ray Lewis, and also great attitude. He has a fantastic attitude. I love Patrick Peterson.
Number 2 player on both of our lists is Charles Tillman on the Chicago Bears. Great cornerback, 3 interceptions, 3 touchdowns.
That's impressive.
What more can you say about him?
Especially because of he's not that fast, honestly. Something that really impressed me about his season, 86 tackles and 8 forced fumbles as a cornerback. Are you kidding me?
He punches the ball out when he tackles.
Insane.
If you watch him tackle, he always goes for the ball.
He literally will punch the ball out and will consistently try to.
You might argue that Tim Jennings is a better cornerback because he had more interceptions.
He led the league in interceptions. But the reason he's not on either of our lists is because
quarterbacks are afraid of Tillman.
Why would you throw the ball to Tillman?
This year he had 3 interceptions, 3 pick sixes. Last year he had 3 interceptions, 2 pick sixes. Like, I would not throw the ball towards Tillman.
Neither would I. Now, we're not taking anything away from Tim Jennings. Tim Jennings, great cornerback.
Solid number 2 cornerback.
Great cornerback. I think, at least I did, I thought about putting him on our list. There was probably 3 or 4 of those guys that I argued putting on my list.
But I just think Tim Jennings got the ball more because they were afraid to throw it to Tillman, who has 8 career touchdowns.
So number 1 on both of our lists is Darrelle Revis. What else can you say?
I bet you guys could have guessed that one.
He's just nuts. Darrelle,
best cornerback of our era, hands down.
He's ridiculous. I mean, The guy only played
He's like our
2
generation's
games.
Deion Sanders.
He only played in 2 games this year because of an injury, but he had a pick in 2 games.
He had a forced fumble too. Actually,
he had a forced fumble.
11 tackles.
That's ridiculous from the cornerback position.
Look at the Jets team without him too.
Very good point. The Jets did arguably the worst season in the past 5 years without Revis in their lineup.
And all the blame went on Mark Sanchez.
Which you could argue.
Yeah,
but
maybe. I'm not a Sanchez fan, but
neither am I.
yeah.
But Darrelle Revis, I mean, the guy's ridiculous. 2 years ago, the ball was only thrown to his side 19 times. Now, the reason I'm talking about 2 years ago is because he really didn't play this season at all. Darrelle Revis, 2 years ago, didn't have any interceptions, but like I said before, the ball was only thrown to him 19 times. I mean, that's
saying something.
Nuts.
Yeah.
That only a few quarterbacks chose to even throw his way at all. So Darrelle Revis, keep it up. Wish you the best of luck in Tampa Bay. There's nothing really to say on you because you're just that good.
Okay, guys, thank you for watching our show.
Please comment, like, and subscribe. And also, find us on Facebook. We just made a page.
Yeah, sorry about him. But have a good night.
If there's any countdowns you want us to do, top 5s, debates, just miscellaneous countdowns, let us know in the comment section or message us. Whichever one.
Like I said in our last 2 videos, if you give us an idea for another video, we will mention your channel in our video. Okay, guys, thank you for the support. Like, we did not expect to be this big right off the start.
Definitely.
But you guys with your stupid comments, keep sending them. We're going to reply and slam you. Each video, there's at least one stupid comment on each video.
At least one. So
Hernandez will burn is my favorite, though.
That's not even...
Thumbs up to you, whoever you are. I'll put your name
Thumbs
right
up.
here. Hernandez will burn.
That's great. Alright. Thank you for watching. We're out.
We are done.